When the SEALs underestimated her, watch as she shocks everyone by disarming the instructor. The sun blazed down on the training ground, casting long shadows that danced around the determined faces of the Navy SEALs. Today wasn't just another day in boot camp, it was the day everyone would remember. It was the day they met Scarlett. Whispers had already spread through the ranks. A girl, they said. Some laughed, while others merely rolled their eyes. But they soon learned laughter can quickly change to shock. Scarlett stood there, her foot tapping a steady rhythm on the concrete. She was small, but every muscle in her body was hard as rock, defined by years of training that few could believe. Her eyes burned with a fierce determination, a wild spark that caught the attention of hardened warriors who weathered storms far and wide. The instructor, Sergeant West, a mountain of a man with a voice like thunder, looked down at her with disdain. "You think you can keep up, girl?" he challenged, crossing his arms over a chest that seemed to block out the sun. Doubt crackled in the air, thick enough to cut. Scarlett felt a tightness in her chest, a familiar mix of fear and thrill. It ignited her resolve. With a quick nod, she powered through, navigating the course with movements that flowed like water, smooth, quick, and deliberate. The SEALs, seasoned veterans who had fought in every imaginable scenario, watched in disbelief as this newcomer effortlessly dodged and weaved through obstacles meant to break even the most experienced. Her agility caught even the most cynical off guard. "No way," someone murmured, eyes wide, gripping a tactical belt. But before they could wrap their heads around it, Scarlett reached the final challenge, the disarm drill. The crowd held its breath as West approached her, the weapon glinting darkly in his hand, the last test for the girl who couldn't be taken seriously. He extended the gun toward her, a smirk dancing across his lips. What happened next was something no one expected. Scarlett lunged forward, a blur of motion as she sidestepped his advance. Her fingers danced across the weapon with precise confidence, and in a heartbeat, she had it twisted from his grip, spinning it away as if it were a twig rather than a deadly firearm. Silence fell like a heavy fog. West's eyes widened, shock piercing through his stoic facade, and around them, whispers morphed into gasps. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." But as the SEALs stood, jaws dropped, a sudden chill swept across the training ground. Scarlett felt it too, a cold shadow creeping on her spine, the kind that hinted this was just the beginning. What had she unlocked, not just in herself, but in that moment? Questions echoed in the minds of onlookers. Who was she, really? The whispers turned to fearful murmurs. The real challenge loomed larger than life, and as Scarlett turned, the glint in her eyes promised there was so much more to discover. Was this just a fluke? Or had they unwittingly awakened something dangerous within her? Scarlett stood there, the weapon still clattering on the ground, echoing like a heartbeat against the stunned silence. The crowd of SEALs shifted, their eyes darting between the fallen gun and her determined figure. There was something electric in the air, a new dynamic that made the seasoned warriors feel unsteady. "Get it together, West." One of them finally shouted, the voice breaking the spell. The instructor's face twisted in anger, a mix of embarrassment and fury igniting in his chest. Scarlett had exposed a chink in the armor he wore with pride. She's a girl. What's next? He stepped forward, his bulk looming like a thundercloud. But Scarlett stepped back, steady gaze locked on him, heart pounding but unwavering. "You underestimate me, Sergeant," she said, her voice cutting through the tension. It was a declaration, a challenge. Gasps erupted from the spectators. West's smirk faltered slightly. He wasn't accustomed to being spoken to like this. "You think one little stunt makes you special?" He barked, his voice a low growl filled with disbelief. I'm not just one little stunt. I'm here for a reason, Scarlet declared, refusing to let fear seep into her tone. She felt the weight of their gazes, the doubts, and the astonishment. It fueled her. With a flash of movement, she bent down and picked up the gun, holding it in a steady grip. The SEALs watched, leaning forward as anticipation pooled in the air. Let us see how you handle it under pressure then. West shouted, rallying the other instructors to his side. He motioned for the highest-ranking officer present, who came striding over, his face set in an expression of scrutiny. Am I really seeing this? The officer asked, raising an eyebrow at the spectacle. A girl against our best. Scarlet straightened, the tension crackling around her like a live wire. I'm not here to prove anything to you, she said, voice unwavering. I just want to train. With a swift nod from the officer, they set the scene for Scarlet's next phase, a full combat drill against the SEALs, one-on-one. The challenge was set. Her heart raced, adrenaline surging through her veins like wildfire. As the first SEAL stepped forward, a hulking figure with years of experience etched into his stance, Scarlet focused on him. She could sense the crowd's shift in energy, anticipation blended with disbelief. Is she really going to survive this? The fight began, movement sharp and chaotic. Scarlet ducked and dived, her instincts guiding her, each second a raw clash of wills. The SEAL swung a heavy fist, but she danced away, countering with a strike that landed harder than any expectation. Gasps echoed, and she caught a glimpse of surprise etched across the faces of those watching. But as the drill progressed, Scarlet could feel the ferocity of her opponents rising. They didn't hold back. With each blow and counter, each clash and scramble, she realized the consequences of pushing boundaries. The stakes were higher, the pressure immense. Was she truly ready for this? Just as victory edged closer, a wild whistle pierced the noise. Someone from the ranks shouted, "Not all battles can be fought in training." The words hit Scarlet like a punch in the gut. What did they mean? Then, without warning, the air shifted again. A growl that rattled her core came from the distant tree line. Eyes widened as a figure emerged, shrouded in darkness, broad shoulders outlined against the crude sunlight. It was not a rumble of nature but someone far more dangerous. Scarlet's breath caught, pulse racing as dread washed over her. What had they awakened? What was outside the confines of their training grounds? It wasn't just about proving herself anymore, it was about survival. Get ready! Someone yelled, but she was frozen in place, staring at the unexpected figure approaching like a storm brewing on the horizon. What had started as a test had quickly morphed into a revelation, a warning. The real challenge wasn't in the combat drills. It was something much larger, creeping closer with each passing second. As shadows loomed and the air crackled, Scarlet had to ask herself, was she prepared for what was really coming? The figure stepped out of the shadows, a hulking beast of a man, his face hidden beneath a dark hood. Scarlet's heart raced, panic flaring within her. The whispers from the SEALs shifted into a chorus of disbelief and fear. What the hell is that? Someone muttered, their voice trembling as they clutched their weapons tighter. The instructor, West, staggered back, eyes wide. Get back! He shouted, inching toward the group, as if he could shield them from whatever danger lurked just beyond the line of trees. Scarlet's instincts flared, every piece of training kicking into gear. This wasn't a drill anymore, it was a fight for their lives. The air filled with tension, a palpable sense of dread as the creature approached, muscles rippling underneath its clothes. She noticed the uneven way it moved, lurching slightly as it closed the gap, but that only amplified her fear. Form a line! Shouted another instructor, urgency igniting their voice. But no one was moving quickly enough. They were mesmerized by the sight before them, something that felt so alien, too unreal for their military minds to process. Scarlet, it's up to you. West's voice broke through, laced with something more than challenge. Was it fear? Did he think she could somehow handle this? Just a moment ago, she'd been fighting her peers. Now, she had to face whatever this was. No one else is ready. She yelled, surprising even herself with the confidence slicing through her trepidation. She lifted the gun, hands steady, but with every inch closer the creature got, her chest tightened. What happened to the training? A voice crackled over the radio. There was a sense of urgency, an order that transcended the chaos. But there was a different kind of chaos now. Darkness loomed not just in the skies overhead but in the very essence of the figure before them. The creature lunged, a swift, brutal movement that sent chills down her spine. Scarlet ducked instinctively, rolling to one side. She pushed herself up and took aim, her breath hitching. The weapon felt heavy, the weight of potential destruction pressing into her. Scarlet, shoot! West barked, the command slicing through the air, her heart raced, adrenaline pulsing through her. But she hesitated for a heartbeat too long, wrestling with the moral quandary of it all. It wasn't just a beast, there was something human lurking beneath that exterior. But the growl that erupted sent a shiver through her bones. This wasn't about morals, this was survival. With a flare of determination, she fired. The crack of the gun echoed like a thunderclap, piercing the fevered chaos surrounding them. The shot rang true. A howl ripped from the creature's lips, and it recoiled, stumbling back, but it didn't fall. Around her, gasps filled the air like static electricity. That was a warning shot. She shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. We need to regroup. The figure shifted, eyes narrowing in her direction, slivers of malice seeping through that initial shock. She had just provoked it, the primal instinct of an injured beast stirring into a frenzy. The look on its face was both human and monster, a twisted reflection of who they might become if they weren't careful. Scarlet, retreat! Someone shouted, but she refused to back down, refusing to be overcome by the chaos. The seals finally stirred, tactics igniting within them, weapons raised in unison around her, an improvised formation that promised strength. Yet, Scarlet felt the weight of uncertainty pressing upon her like a fist. Then the creature lunged again, fast and furious. Scarlet hardly had time to think. In that furious moment, everything shifted. She'd entered a fight she never truly expected, where every instinct screamed survival. As shadows closed around them and the creature began to advance, Scarlet realized that this battle had only just begun, and whatever it hunted was much deeper than she ever imagined. What stood beyond those tree-lean constraints was more than just a fight, it was a reckoning. Would they be ready for the truth buried beneath their fears? Scarlet's heart hammered in her chest as the creature paused, its breath heavy, a low growl rumbling from deep within its throat. The air was thick with tension, every seal holding their breath, waiting, watching. Scarlet tightened her grip around the gun, finger resting just off the trigger, eyes locked onto the monster before her. Time seemed to freeze as she felt the collective energy of her team, a mixture of fear and disbelief. Stay together. One of the seals called, cutting through the silence like a knife. We can't get separated. But unity felt fragile. As that breathless moment stretched on, Scarlet could see the creature's eyes glinting, intelligent yet feral. It shifted its weight, grounding itself for another attack. Had they just wounded it, or had they awakened something much more dangerous? With a roar that echoed through the woods, the creature lunged again, a furious blur of motion. It barreled forward, arms outstretched like twisted branches hunting for prey. Scarlet barely had time to react. She ducked low, rolling away as chaos erupted around her. The crack of weapons firing exploded in the air, more shots rang out, wildly aimed. Don't shoot blindly. West's voice barked, panic stitching through his command. The tangled foliage nosedived into chaos as shots echoed against the trees, but the creature weaved through, dodging bullets like an apparition. Scarlet scrambled to her feet. She needed to control the situation before it spiraled into disaster. Get behind me! She yelled, unnerved but determined. She couldn't afford to lose focus now. The creature stopped again, its chest rising and falling, anger flashing in its animalistic eyes. It was a moment of reckoning. It seemed to evaluate them, eyes roving over their forms, the closest semblance of sentience flaring in its gaze. This was no mindless beast. This was something more complex. Suddenly, the instructor next to West collapsed, his weapon slipping from his grip. "I can't," he gasped, clutching his side, blood blossoming across his uniform. Shock rippled through the ranks, and the distraction became a catalyst for panic. "Keep your cool," West shouted, fear igniting the air. But the control he once held wavered. "Retreat. We need to regroup." Scarlet's eyes flitted to the instructor, whose face twisted in pain. He couldn't hold that line for long. The creature looked poised to strike, the savage look in its eyes shimmering with hunger. There was no more hiding, survival instincts roared to life within her. The SEALs hesitated, uncertainty painted across their faces. "What do we do?" someone asked, a tremor underpinning their voice. "We fight," Scarlet declared, as much for them as for herself, feeling a surge of courage. "We can't let fear dictate our actions." She surveyed the scene. They needed a plan, but first, they needed to act. Then, in a heartbeat, she stepped forward and aimed the weapon not at the creature but toward the fallen instructor. The crowd gasped, horror mingling with confusion, a chorus of "What are you doing?" rippling through them. "I need you to disarm him, West," she shouted, hoping to elevate the class, infusing urgency into every syllable. "Now." West blinked, processing her command, but Scarlet saw the flicker of recognition dawn in his eyes. She was serious. "If we can't save him, we've lost already," she added, determination burning fiercely within her. The creature, sensing their distraction, leapt again, but this time Scarlet was ready. She instinctively pivoted, gun raised. A shot rang out, missed not at the monster, but at the chains holding the instructor's gun. The weapon clattered to the ground, disarmed and harmless. The SEALs murmured, collective disbelief mingling with a hint of admiration. What had just happened? West recovered quickly, his voice firm. "Formation. Protect the perimeter." But Scarlet couldn't shake the cool tremor running down her spine. Had she just done something unimaginable? Did this change everything? Amid the swirling chaos, the creature paused again, its attention drawn back to Scarlet, and she realized this wouldn't just be a challenge of brute strength or skills, it was a test of their very humanity. And with that thought, guilt mixing with resolve, she knew, the line between hunter and hunted was more blurred than she imagined. What lay ahead wasn't just a fight for survival, but a revelation about themselves. As the beast charged again, Scarlet breathed deeply. But what was she truly unleashing? In moments like this, the weight of choices would carve the path forward, and she needed to know, could she navigate it without losing herself? Scarlet's heart raced as the creature sprang forward, a powerful manifestation of fury and primal instinct. Time blurred again, an electrifying pause before violence erupted. The air vibrated with the SEALs' heavy breaths, fear simmering at the edges of their resolve. She caught West's eye, and with a slight nod, they both understood, retreat was no longer an option. "Fall back into a triangle," West commanded, voice straining against chaos. The SEALs shifted, muscles coiled, weapons aimed, yet uncertainty loomed like fog. The creature's growl echoed off nearby trees, the sound a dark promise of bloodshed. Scarlet clutched her gun, feeling its cold weight against her palm. She had to act. "West, I'll cover the left. You take right," she shouted, voice slicing through the tension. A flicker of acknowledgement shone in West's eyes. He braced himself, and the team snapped into action, flanking the creature, drawing taut the defensive line they needed. The beast sensed the formation and hesitated, its moment of tactical calculation lingering. Then it charged, claws curling. Scarlet's instincts kicked in. She fired once, twice. The bullet struck true, cutting through fur, scraping flesh. The creature recoiled but came back, angrier, more vicious. It roared, a sound that vibrated through her, rattling her bones. "Keep your positions," West urged, flanking the other side. But Scarlet saw the gravel crunch beneath the creature's relentless charge. It was a blur, darting around trees as if nature itself was a mere obstacle. Each shot from their weapons felt like an echo of desperation, ricocheting through the ranks. "Watch your backs," someone yelled. The creature craned around, and in one brutal swipe, a tree fell, its decaying trunk crashing in a series of splinters. Scarlet ducked, her heart hammering. Then, amidst the chaos, Scarlet remembered the instructor. His face was haunting, the blood blossoming on his uniform, the fear pooling in his eyes. They couldn't forget him, but time was ticking away like a countdown to disaster. She darted a glance toward West, who was still coordinating, still fighting, but was it enough? "Come on!" she shouted in helpless frustration. The creature lunged again, this time targeting West. Before she could register anything else, she lunged forward too. Scarlet squeezed the trigger, the bullet soared through the air, singing toward the beast. The shot missed as the creature veered, inches from capturing West in its monstrous grip. A hiss of disbelief escaped her throat. "Head up! Flank it!" Scarlet yelled. They had to drive it back, push it away, divide its focus. She pivoted left again, keeping her weapon steady, preyed upon by uncertainty. And then, in a moment of harrowing clarity, the creature stopped. Its massive body shifted slightly, as if contemplating its next move. Was it sizing her up? Realizing she was the one commanding the string of chaos unfolding before it? Scarlet held her breath, craning her neck to watch, conviction replacing fear, but before she could soften her grip on her gun, the creature charged anew, a flurry of movement too fast to follow. Scarlet reacted, weapon raised, adrenaline pulsing, but this time, she saw something glimmer an innocence within its eyes, a reflection of something more lost than savage. "Scarlet! Look out!" West's voice echoed in warning. But what was she afraid of? The beast bore down, and time slowed as Scarlet's heart raced. Were they truly the heroes, or had they become something worse? A flood of humanity surged within her as she spotted a young wolf curled up in the underbrush, hidden but terrified. "West, it's just..." But before she finished, the whole world exploded, with a bone-rattling crash, something nearby gave way, pulling their attention. The creature faltered briefly, snarling and confused as chaos descended once more, disrupted by the startling revelation unfolding beneath the creature's raw fury. What had they stumbled into? And who were they battling, this beast or something deeper within themselves, hidden beneath layers of training? And fear? Scarlet felt it waiting something monumental, as if the secrets of the forest the creature emerged from were now gathering, brushing against their reality. She steadied herself in the swirling chaos but knew an answer was lurking just out of reach. "Fall back." West's voice broke through her thoughts, but as she started to retreat, she glanced back and locked eyes with the beast one last time. It wasn't over. Not yet. The question loomed, what were they truly prepared to face? Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she couldn't shake the chilling sense that the hunt had only just begun. Scarlet's heart thundered in her chest as the dust settled around them. The beast had vanished for a fleeting heartbeat, but the tension hung thick like fog. A feeling of vulnerability crept in, wrapping its tendrils around her emotions. The adrenaline was still coursing, yet uncertainty gnawed at her insides. What just happened? Someone muttered. The voice trembled, echoing the fear they all shared. West turned sharply, eyes narrowing at the looming silence. "Stay alert. It's not finished with us." Scarlet scanned the perimeter, mentally counting her team as the forest breathed heavily around them. The shadows shifted, but within that darkness, something was stirring, something more insidious than the creature they just faced. She felt it in the grip of the trees, the rustling leaves whispering secrets of the past. "West, what if it's not just a predator? Her voice quivered, unexpected dread spilling forth. What if there is something more to this? Focus, Scarlet. West snapped, but his brow furrowed, and she could see he was teetering on doubt. We deal with what's in front of us, nothing else. The mantra of survival echoed through her mind, but it clashed with the vision of the hidden wolf. A fragile creature caught in the crossfire of two worlds, an idea that dug deep into her core, setting her thoughts ablaze. Look! Yelled one of the other seals, pointing. The foliage rustled again, and Scarlet's heart dropped as she realized they hadn't managed to drive the beast away. It had retreated and now it was circling. The ground shook with each heavy paw step. It was a beast, but something about its movements felt deliberate, almost like it was toying with them. With every moment that passed, a connection blossomed in Scarlet's mind. They weren't simply hunting a monster, they were potentially stepping into a fragile ecosystem, one that could tear apart just as easily as it could be rebuilt. She felt drawn to the idea. We need to understand it, not just fight it, she breathed, barely audible. But her words fell flat against the backdrop of wild snarls and snapping jaws. Are you insane? West exclaimed, frustration evident etched in every line of his face. They don't give a damn about understanding. It's kill or be killed. No. Listen, what if we can? But before she could finish, the creature lunged, its eyes blazing with primal fury. This time, it seemed more enraged than ever, as though they had crossed a line. The darkness in the trees writhed, a vortex of anger and instinct. As the beast barreled towards them, Scarlet surged forward, propelled by a burgeoning need to protect her team. But then, time slowed again, and she felt a shift clearer than ever when she glanced at the wounded wolf hidden among the brush. West, cover me! She shouted, raising her weapon high above her head. I'm gonna draw it away. Before he could react, she sprinted toward the underbrush, heart pounding with purpose. Panic surged among the seals as they shouted for her to stop, but darkness echoed around her, and she dove down, her instincts guiding her. With a sudden eruption of courage, she aimed her rifle at the ground, firing into the earth instead of the beast. The creature paused, its hefty body jerking in surprise, momentarily diverted. Scarlet! West's voice cracked with alarm, but there was no turning back now. Look at the wolf! She yelled, and for the first time, she hoped to see clarity in a life-or-death moment, not just chaos. The creature hesitated, and she advanced further, using her body to shield the hidden pup. The beast growled, confused, eyes darting between the two, every muscle tensed for action. And that's when Scarlet noticed behind the ferocious exterior, she saw the flickers of doubt, not just in the creature, but within herself too. Struggling between instinct and innovation, she took a deep breath, stepping closer. Hey, easy, we can figure this out together. The air crackled with tension. She was paralyzed by the weight of the moment, beset by the instinct to protect the creature from her own team and herself, but what emerged next shattered every belief she had in what it meant to be a hunter. In an instant, the creature shifted, moving from the urge to attack to something more unfathomable, as if an unbreakable link tied its anger to her vulnerability. There was a connection forming, not formed through words but sheer understanding. Scarlet! Get back! West's voice ground into her ears like gravel over steel. She felt the pressure mounting, their world pressing against her with a force ready to split open. What would happen next? Would she be embraced or devoured by the unknown connection she had forged? Scarlet took another step, heart pounding with uncertainty, and the shadows loomed larger, waiting to see what she would do next. It was a gamble, one that could change everything, but could they step beyond mere survival? The air stilled in that charged moment, ready to explode. Then she heard it, the soft whimper of the hidden wolf, calling out to her, mixing with the growl of the beast, creating an unsettling harmony that edged closer to chaos. Just how far was she willing to go to protect both? The path ahead tangled deeper into darkness, and Scarlet felt the haunting question pulse in her veins. Could she brave the storm charging toward them all? Scarlet held her breath, caught in the electric tension that swirled around her. The growl of the beast reverberated in her bones, a primal sound that threatened to rip apart the fragile weave of understanding she was trying to forge. She felt the weight of her choices drop like a stone in the pit of her stomach. This was no longer just about survival. The beast shifted, muscles coiling, its golden eyes locking onto hers. Scarlet could sense its confusion as her heartbeat echoed louder than the forest around them. For a split second, she'd forgotten about West and the others. She was only aware of the raw energy humming between her and the predator, a maelstrom of instinct, fear, and something tender that threatened to blossom within the maelstrom. "Scarlet, don't," West shouted again, voice slicing through the tension, but it felt distant now, muffled in the back of her mind. She couldn't retreat, not now. Then, the atmosphere changed. Sparks of danger ignited in the air as the beast took a wobbly step forward, uncertainty flaring in its eyes. It shifted its gaze to the whimpering pup hidden behind her, and for a fleeting moment, the fury melted away, replaced by something softer. Something that terrified her. "Stay back," she whispered, and somehow believed it. "We're not here to hurt you." The beast's growl subsided. It was still dangerous, still a predator, but it was more than that. That, amidst chaos, was a sliver of introspection that no one anticipated. The forest around them held its breath as if the trees shared in the suspense of Scarlet's gamble, but West wasn't letting up. He darted towards her, eyes fierce with worry. "You need to move, now," he yelled, desperation bleeding through. Scarlet turned slightly, raising her palm toward him, still keeping her eyes on the creature. "No. Just, give me a second." Danger lay thick in the air, but it's as if time stretched, letting her drown in the moment. She couldn't back down. The truth twisted at her mind, this animal had a purpose too, and maybe, just maybe she could help. Behind her, the world of seals bristled with urgency. The tension among her team was palpable. She snatched a glance back at them. Their expressions painted a picture of disbelief mixed with growing anger. "You're risking everything." West's voice hit her again, but the fear only fueled her resolve. Wait. Needed to bridge the chasm that divided them, the human world, from this fierce creature's world. She shifted her weight, barely breathing, hauntingly aware of the wolf pup's eyes peering out from behind her legs. "Look. If I die, it's on me, but I can't fight it anymore. Instead, I want to understand." The beast tensed as if contemplating the fragile offer. But the moment was disrupted as a rustle echoed through the dense underbrush, sharp and sinister. Scarlet flinched, eyes wide as shadows danced in the distance, a warning signal firing through her nerves. Something else was here, lurking, and it wasn't the friend they were looking for. The atmosphere thickened once again, pressing down on them, melding fear with dread. "Scarlet!" West shouted in alarm, rising panic painting his features. The beast responded, muscles taut and ready, eyes darting to the source of the sound. Fear washed over Scarlet, she had drawn its attention, but now she needed to act. "No. Stay here," she urged the beast even as she felt the danger prowling closer. Time was running out. She just hoped that between the predator and her, compassion might somehow tip the scales. With a sudden, instinctual burst, the creature lunged into the underbrush, leaving Scarlet staggering. She couldn't see what had flushed it, but adrenaline ignited her senses. "Get ready." From the right. West barked, voice harsh in the chaos. The seals were circling. They were confused but ready for fight once more. A thunderous roar abruptly shattered the air as the new creature revealed itself, a dark silhouette, more menacing than before, a twisted amalgamation of shadow and fury. The real threat had arrived, and it didn't care about the wolf, or her idealistic pursuits. Scarlet's heart pounded, dread clawing at her with renewed ferocity. The stakes had risen into uncharted heights. Could she face this new terror while trying to discern the hidden connections she held with the beast? As the darkness closed in, she realized one thing: survival demanded more than just instinct now. It required courage to face the chaos and hope to forge unexpected alliances. The horizon of sanity blurred as she found herself standing between two worlds now, the unthinkable about to unfold. Would she stand and fight for both, or would the darkness consume them all? Shadows loomed large, hungry for resolution, and Scarlet could feel every eye upon her, hers and the creatures alike. Then, with all breaths held, the sudden question coursed through her veins like icy fire: was she losing herself in this struggle, or would they step into the unknown together? The fight was far from over, and with the stakes mounting, would her faith in their fragile connection survive the coming storm? Scarlet's pulse thrummed in her ears as the unseen beast snarled just out of sight, a dark shadow waiting to pounce. She could feel the tension in the air, thick and stifling, and the eagerness of the seals to spring into action set her on edge. West's proximity was a palpable reminder of the chaos. She could hear his heavy breathing, feel his glare sear her skin like a warning flare. "Scarlet, listen to me." His voice was sharp, cutting through the fear. "We can't let it take you. This isn't some wildlife encounter, this is real." They won't hold back. Her heart sank as she realized he might be right. This was exactly the kind of chaos they trained for, and yet here she was, choosing to stand unarmed before two predators, one raw and primal, and the other, her own team, fumbling on a knife's edge of confusion. The woods erupted in a cacophony of rustles, branches snapping like bones underfoot. It felt as if the very earth trembled around them. She formed a plan. She had to defuse the situation, create an alliance. She took a step toward the direction of the growl, staring down the impenetrable blackness. "If we make a move now, we'll lose both of them," she called, refusing to take her eyes off the creeping menace. "Trust me, please." In her peripheral vision, she caught West's conflicted face, muscles tensed, volatile as his instincts clawed for dominance. But before anyone could react, the silhouette burst forth in a blur of fur and fury. Scarlet's breath hitched as the creature lunged, its sharp teeth bared. Adrenaline ignited her legs, and she instinctively dove to the side, escaping the powerful jaws that snapped where she had stood just moments ago. She rolled onto her feet, shaking off the shock. The beast seemed equally surprised, a moment of hesitation flickering in its eyes as it recalibrated its approach. The pup whimpered behind Scarlet, a soft sound cutting through the noise, tethering her to her purpose. "Hey!" she shouted, grounding herself. "You don't want to do this. Not with me." Each word felt like a bridge over the chasm of fear separating them. Somehow, she needed to make them see. The beast paused mid-attack, its muscles rippling but its heart hesitating. It shifted, glancing from Scarlet to the seals, confused by the empowerment that ran through her words. Was it the human spirit? The pup? She grasped at straws yet hoped they would coalesce into something tangible. "Look at me," she insisted, her voice ringing out in the stillness. One furious look from the watery depths of the creature's golden eyes met hers, and Scarlet felt a strange connection form, an understanding beyond words. "We don't want to fight." Suddenly, the beast let out a roar that shook the branches. It was impressed, angered, then indecisive, its growl transforming into an uncertain whimper as it considered her offer. But there was no time to celebrate this small victory. The seals were poised for escalation, weapons drawn. Scarlet could see West fumbling, his gun steady in his grip but his eyes darting between her and the beast, torn between duty and an instinctual pull towards her. "Scarlet!" he barked, uncertainty leaking through his otherwise strong facade. "You have to get back." She heard the tremble in his voice, the concern weighing heavy as a boulder. Behind them, the dark shadow bellowed once more, a wild echo through the underbrush, scattering the trees as though they might crumble with fear. "West!" she shot back, desperation clawing at her. "We fight this together, human and beast. Otherwise, one of us is going to end up as the other's prey." Her words hung in the air, suspended like a drop of sweat poised to fall from tension. Would anyone listen? Would her own team extend a thread down into that abyss, too? Then in that moment, everything shifted. The growling heightened a sign, perhaps, and the opposing force stepped into the clearing, a carved figure from the shadows, revealing itself not as a monster but a creature intricately woven into the fabric of this wild realm. Scarlet's breath caught, for what emerged from the gloaming was nothing she could have prepared for. Was that him, the formidable instructor, the one they believed was lost? Her heart dropped. What was he doing here, commanding the chaos they had inadvertently summoned? The stakes had never been higher, the night pressed around them, thickening with tension and uncertainty. By revealing himself, had he aligned as another threat, or was there another rationale unfolding before her eyes? Scarlet's knees buckled, reality crashing down just as quickly as her hopes lifted. What would happen next, and who would go into the darkness with her? But more importantly, in a world where survival hinged on a fragile alliance, could this unexpected twist change everything? Scarlet's mind raced, grappling with the revelation standing before her. The familiar figure, cloaked in shadows, was unmistakably their instructor. He had disappeared weeks ago, swallowed by the depths of this unforgiving wilderness. But now, here he was, a ghost of the past materializing in the company of a beast. Her heart thundered. Was he still a savior, or had he become something they should fear? The seals held their breath, weapons still fixed on the creature, torn between instinct and training. West's eyes darted from the beast to the man, his gun trembling in his grip. An eerie silence enveloped them all, thick with anticipation. They were trapped in a moment, suspended, every heartbeat amplifying the weight of the unknown. "Stay back," West warned, his voice an unmistakable roar designed to rattle everyone into action. Scarlet's instincts screamed at her to move, to act. She took a bold step forward, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Stop. He's one of us. Scarlet, get away," West shouted, fear igniting in his eyes. His protective nature flared, pushing him to clash against the unseen foe. The soft whimper of the pup seemed lost in the chaos as the darkened forest shuddered with unspoken tension. "Listen," she yelled, her heart pounding against her ribcage. "If he's here, it's for a reason. We have to find out." The perplexed looks from the seals encouraged her to push on. "He can solve this, we all can. Just give him a chance." Murmurs ricocheted through the group, amalgamate murmurs of disbelief and uncertainty. Who was she to challenge their instincts? It wasn't just a test of physical strength, it was a clash of wills, a pull between human instinct to protect and the primal need to understand. The instructor, a formidable presence, took a step toward the beast. It was a deft movement, controlled yet cautious. Something in his demeanor radiated authority, a silent command that danced between him and the creature. The savage growling subsided. Tension crackled in the air like static electricity. Scarlet watched, breathless, as the beast lowered its head, acknowledging him. "It's not what you think," he spoke, voice low and steady. "We are not enemies." Just like that, the beast released a slow, rumbling sound, almost resembling a harmonic growl. It was a melody of sorts, a communication of fury melding with something softer, something strangely human-like. "Why are you here?" West demanded, inching closer, the last vestige of doubt flickering in his eyes. "What the hell happened to you?" "Let us talk," the instructor replied, movement fluid as he gestured to Scarlet. "Trust her, you have no choice. This is a shared struggle, she's our only link to bridging the gap between us." Scarlet's blood ran cold as the gravity of his statement sank in. She was the bridge. Could she really hold such power? How had she unknowingly claimed this role in the throes of danger? "Scarlet, don't!" West interjected, urgency pulsating through his voice. A flash of concern crossed his face, eyes darting back to the beast, still coiled with a ferocity ready to erupt. "I can do this," she whispered, grounding herself, recalling their shared training, the tactical maneuvers, the unspoken connections. She stepped closer, their instructor's eyes locked onto hers with a fierce intensity. "I can help us find common ground. I won't let fear dictate our moves anymore." Determination swelled within her as a plan formed, each heartbeat syncing with the life around them. She took a deep breath and turned to the seals, every eye upon her like hawks. "Help me. Let us bring him closer. We can resolve this if we unite," she urged, voice unwavering. "But we have to empower each other. This beast is protecting something and we can learn from it if we see beyond our fear." Seizing that moment, she stepped forward. The air around them shimmered with palpable tension, the unexpected alliance teetering on the brink of chaos. Would they trust an unarmed woman to lead them? Would they defy the very instincts that had solidified their training? West stared at her with an unreadable expression, but something shifted in his eyes, perhaps understanding, perhaps dread. But before any further steps could be taken, a sound shattered the fragile silence. From deeper within the dark thicket, an echo arose, foreboding and sinister, a sound that suggested the true threat was yet to emerge. Scarlett's heart dropped, the weight of her commitment heavy as she realized, the darkness was closing in, and they would have to confront it, together or not at all. The true battle was about to begin, but would they be able to unite in time to face the horror lurking just beyond the veil? With that thought hanging in the air, she braced for whatever would come next. Was she brave enough to meet the monster of their reality? Scarlett stood rooted amidst the tension, heart racing, palms clammy as ephemeral shadows continued to inch closer. Every breath she took felt charged with adrenaline, the weight of looming danger pressing down harder than any battle she had ever faced. The once chilling growl echoed from the forest depths, and as uncertainty hung in the air, realization gripped her like a vice. This confrontation had transformed from a physical battle into a reckoning of wills, instincts locked in frenetic chaos. The instructor, their instructor, his survival entwined with hers, moved with a fluid grace. His commanding aura seemed to dampen the monstrous aura of the beast, which now flickered between predator and something more nuanced. "We need to talk," he repeated, standing firm, resolute. "Only together can we face what's coming." West shifted beside her, anxiety bracing his posture, glancing cautiously from the beast to Scarlett, weighing trust against instinct. The vulnerability of their team was evident, breaths caught in a collective knot of fear. "Stay alert," West commanded, eyeing the shadows creep closer. "But if we are to fight, then we fight united." Scarlett's heart soared with his words. She turned towards the beast, locking gazes. "We're not your enemies. Can you see that?" Her voice echoed against the trees, challenging the imminent danger, imploring understanding. A shudder rippled through the beast at her words. Jackals couldn't even begin to sum up the hazard hidden within the shadows. The growls faded as the beast tilted its head, hesitating, wrapping its primal instincts within the undertow of her fierce resolve, and just like that, comprehension flickered in its golden eyes, nothing more than a slot of revelation, igniting hope amid impending peril. "Now or never," Scarlett whispered to herself, feeling a new fire surge through her. She stepped boldly ahead, trusting the instructor's presence behind her, firming her voice against the uncertainty. "We're not alone. We can protect each other. We'll draw strength from one another, compromise our fears, become allies. But we must act fast." Suddenly, everything exploded. The growl morphed into a screech, something dark and twisted hurtling from the brush. Shadows leaped, revealing a creature far more sinister and grotesque than they had ever faced. Its eyes glowed like evil lanterns, teeth glistening in wicked anticipation, a monstrous figure poised to attack. The very ground reverberated beneath it, and for a moment, the lines between survival blurred beneath chaos. Scarlett had to take charge. "Form a perimeter. West, they need to rally." She felt the tempo of her heart match the wild thud of powerful limbs in the distance. "Protect each other. That's our best chance." Her words, a rallying cry, surged through the air, and with an instinctive motion, the seals reacted, flanking defensively, weapons exchanged with fervent resolve. The instructor took an assertive step forward, speaking directly to the beast, echoing her sentiments, binding their fates together. "Stand down, or we stand together. There's no need for more bloodshed." His voice boomed loud enough to shatter the aching silence that threatened to consume them. The monstrous figure paused, then lunged, but not for the seals. It barreled toward Scarlet, immense and terrifying, hunger etched into its features. Panic surged through her, but deep down, conviction anchored her feet, wider than any fear she had. "No!" she shouted, raising her weapon not to shoot, but to draw attention, holding her ground with triumph. "I'm not your enemy." The beast hesitated once more, muscles trembling with rage and confusion, caught between its instincts and the humanity rippling in their aura. Scarlet didn't want this battle to spiral into chaos. "You're not alone," she breathed, locking eyes with it, her heart racing to assert that they could coexist. Then, as if reversing, the creature paused, glances unwavering in a sea of confusion. It turned, watching the seals, watching her, they could all feel the shift in energy. "Scarlet!" West yelled in. Warning again, urgency woven into every syllable. And at that moment, Scarlet understood. It was about more than simply fighting off a creature, it was navigating the web of fears that linked them all. It was the essence of survival, not simply defeating the shadow but learning from it, growing stronger through unity. "Now!" she shouted, pushing forward. "Let us show it we mean no harm." The seals surged into action, support rallying around her, bolstered by camaraderie as they faced the encroaching dark. Weapons raised, energy electrified, ready to protect each other. "Together!" Scarlet called, and even as fear hovered, each of them sensed that something beyond just knife-edge survival awaited, a sliver of understanding lingering in the air. As the creatures clashed, the seals moved in synchronized motion, taking careful steps toward the shadows as alive waves of defiance surged. The beasts halted, sickened by the violence clashing before them, but it was not gone yet, the bitter taste of loyalty forged under fire. After all, it was about humanity, learning how to balance the hunt and the hunted. And so there they stood, a fragile coalition surrounding the chaos, Scarlet at the epicenter of it all, the link between their world and whatever lay beyond, a bridge ready to connect both sides, but more importantly ready to face whatever came next. Glancing to West, support infused in her conviction, she knew they would rise above this storm. "Let us show them who we are." As her shout rang true, a glimmer of resolve pulsed through everyone. They would be more than just warriors this time, this would be a burgeoning alliance, working shoulder to shoulder to navigate whatever dark mystery awaited them beyond the trees. A battle awaited in shadows, and together, they defaced the darkness with light. Now it was time to finish this, and in a world that had twisted their paths together, this was not just a challenge, it was a defining moment for all of them, and they would not back down. The final showdown awaits. Before you go, this extraordinary journey is just getting started. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss out on any of our exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and support the story you love. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about what's next. Every word counts, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference. Let us grow this amazing community together.